So much. Good evening, everyone. It's just wonderful to be in, sort of the same virtual space as two women who have taught me and been so significant in my personal and academic journey. So, hi, Miss Chander, and hi, Anjali. And for Sonali, congratulations. I might actually enjoy the distinction of having read almost all of your poems before they were published. So each poem was, I almost remember where I was and what I was doing and what I was feeling when I read each of your poems for the first time. I think most of them you posted, here and there, and I think maybe you shared some of them personally. I know you from, I think, when we were teenagers. When you joined, we went to the same boarding school together. Sonali is just a year older than me. And I remember you from, I think, the first day you joined, because Sonali, from the beginning, was, in a way, very pleasantly disruptive in a very sort of conforming boarding school space. And she always stood out. And then I met you in undergrad. I was your junior in MA when we were doing our masters, and you've always just been a good friend, a mentor, even if you didn't mean to be, and somebody I've looked up to. So we have this wonderful history. I'm also I also teach literature. I'm also a poet, and there's so many women here today who are like me, but I don't want to speak in those capacities. I actually want to speak from a very personal place. I want to speak as a survivor of abuse. There's a stereotype of women who suffer abuse, and society refuses to see women who are educated, economically independent, seemingly in control and empowered as, women who may suffer abuse. And, I think from the moment that you started writing about, I didn't ask permission, I didn't ask permission about this, but, from the moment you started writing about these things, it was just something, it was revelatory for me, uh, to see that, wow, there are others like me, and that, yes, poetry is a space where we can talk about things. Poetry is an arena where we can, in a way, fight back, and find our place. So that I just want to thank you for writing all your poems. And the other capacity I want to speak, in which I want to speak, is as a mother. I have three daughters. And as a survivor of abuse, that's always something that, you worry about. How do you talk to your daughters about these things? Because in a way, if you broach these topics, it's a loss of innocence. You're responsible for, sort of destroying a certain view of the world that, girls can never get back, but on the other hand, you also want to prepare them. And I just find, that your poetry is just remarkable. This is something that I have not been able to do personally as a poet. My poems are poems I don't want my daughters to read. But then your poetry is actually, gentle. I think somebody's already said this, but um, my favorite one is How to Find Politically Sound Love. And, when I read it, I thought, wow, this is perfect. It just, it strikes that perfect balance. This is the kind of poetry that I can share with my very young daughters, with young women who have perhaps never even been in a relationship, but, who will maybe read this and understand that, love is not, love, it can be treacherous, and it's, a field of landmines, but that there's beauty, in sort of dancing around them. So yeah, I just want to say thank you, Sonali. Your poetry is wonderful. I think, you've contributed to posterity, especially as a feminist. I think you've really, sort of given us a very significant text, not just in terms of academic poetry, etc., but really in terms of, a text that women, young, old, married, unmarried, divorced, all and all forms, but all kinds of people and men, all genders, all identities, a text that we can all read, and find in a way that it's all right to claim power over oneself, and it's all right to, sort of decide what we deserve. So thank you.